Oh, please tell me that we're going to win this.
It's going to be a fight. No mistake.
The judge has got to understand that this could be our child. At the very least, it'll keep Annie from running away with Emma.
Dixie, I don't like playing hardball any more than you do. But we have to make that judge understand. That's why we're here. He's got to know that we need a DNA test that doesn't have payload.
To a DNA test. No, we didn't bring Emma to sit through your torture.
Call it off, Tad.
I can't do that.
The law is on Annie's side. You're not going to win this.
We asked nicely. You refused. So here we are. You didn't give us a choice.
Thank you, Your Honor, for agreeing to oversee this hearing on such short notice.
Short being the key word, Counselor. You promised this wouldn't take long. I intend to hold you to your word.
Your Honor, my colleague was a bit presumptuous. There are two sides to this issue.
I am aware of that, Mrs. Cutter-Heath. However, my wife is holding dinner, and her casserole does not stand the test of time. Therefore, I suggest that both parties make your arguments as succinct as possible.
Your Honor, I've asked you here on behalf of my clients, Tad and Dixie Martin.
Yes, I have read the brief, Counselor. You are petitioning the court to order a DNA test to determine who produced this bundle of joy, Emma McDermott. Let's hear from the parents.
They're right here, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Emma's mother is right here.
Distress, in and out of consciousness. She found it very difficult to argue when her doctor vehemently, passionately urged her to sign over her parental rights for the good of her child, a daughter she named Kate.
Your Honor, I have a great deal of compassion for Dixie's decision, but I failed to see how my colleague's detailed account has any bearing on the matters before the court. And I also don't see how it's getting you any closer to your casserole.
She has a point, Jack. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
We believe, Your Honor, that after Ms. Martin was coerced into signing over her daughter to Dr. Madden, that he took this child on his private jet to New York City and 4 days later placed this child with Annie McDermott.
Now that is a far-fetched fantasy.
He didn't place Emma with me. I gave birth to her. She's mine, 100%.
Your Honor, just because Dixie Martin and Annie McDermott shared the same OBGYN does not mean that Annie ended up with Dixie's child. Dr. Greg Madden had hundreds of clients all over the world.
You're right, Livia. Indeed he did. So why are we keeping the good judge here from his dinner? What is the basis of this hearing? It is, in fact, a rather marvelous discovery made by a doctor at Pine Valley Hospital. It is, in fact, a DNA test, the results of which show that Tad Martin and Emma McDermott are, in fact, father and daughter.
That I made a grave mistake when I gave away my daughter. I realized that when I started recovering from my car accident, an accident that my doctor knew that I would survive. I was conned into giving up my child, the most precious thing in the world to me. I don't know if you're a parent, Your Honor, but can you imagine what that must have felt like? To have given away your child to strangers because you were lied to. I can't tell you how full of self-loathing and emptiness I've been. I've looked all over the world for her. I have followed lead after lead. I have met other women who were victims of this maniac. I have found fake birth certificates. I have found hundreds of photographs of children that he has brought into the world, children that he has given away. And I have never been so close to finding Kate as I am now. I have to know the truth. Please, I have to know if this is my child. Please, Your Honor, it's my only option left.
I am very sorry for your loss, Miss Martin. It's obvious you regret your choice.
What happened to you is terrible, Dixie. But you can't make up for losing your child by taking mine.
Nobody wants to take anything that doesn't belong to them. All we want is answers. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but forgive me. If you'd spent the last 4 years of your life looking for your daughter, and you thought you might have found her, you'd insist on the same answers. You'd have to know.
I do know. Emma is not your daughter. End of discussion.
Miss McDermott, if you're so sure about that, then I don't understand you having any qualms about taking another DNA test.
The only thing this is about is that there is no legal basis for ordering a mother to prove that she is the mother of her own child. And there is no legal basis for ordering a child to be subject to this test.
I'm sorry, but if I may, Your Honor, why do we need a test at all? I'm just trying to figure it out, because if the one that you gave the judge is 99.99%, right, which is the supposed accuracy, then I don't understand what we're even doing here, because Ted Dixie would be suing for custody of Emma right now, but the man responsible for that test is a convicted felon, and he is a liar, and he's got a grudge against half the people in this town.
Your Honor, while I'd like to admit for the record that my client did not consent to this test, I'm also very curious why Mr. Montgomery is requesting that another test be conducted. Is he admitting that these test results are questionable? Are you just going for the best 2 out of 3?
I'd like to hear that answer myself, Counselor.
I concede the court may have some problems with the authenticity of the first test.
And you must have some problems with it as well, or we wouldn't be here.
Because the source of that test is somewhat tainted. This is why we request another test.
Your Honor, clearly, Mr. and Ms. Martin have no legal grounds to stand on. A questionable DNA test is the only connection they have to Emma McDermott. And now we know that that DNA test could possibly be Mr. Martin and his son.
You admit this test is unreliable, yet you claim it as grounds for another. If you're playing games with me, Jack.
I assure you, Your Honor, I am not.
Show him the test from New York.
Well, who produced that one? Santa Claus?
Your Honor, how many random tests are we going to be subjected to?
In fact, Livia, this test isn't random at all. This is a test that Anna McDermott had done at a licensed clinic in New York City.
Your Honor, that is a private medical record clearly obtained illegally, and it is inadmissible.
I will keep that in mind, thank you. Ms. McDermott, this test states that you are no blood relationship to the child that you claim you delivered.
Your Honor, whether Annie matches Emma makes no difference. It still proves nothing. Nothing for Ted and Dixie. Your Honor, why should Annie have to explain those tests if they have no bearing at all whether
Are
Dixie
you
and Ted are...
Mrs. McDermott's husband?
No, I'm not, Your Honor.
Father of the child?
I'm a friend, and
Your Honor, Mr. Lavery is very knowledgeable about this case and has a great deal to add.
Well, when I want Mr. Lavery's advice, I'll ask for it. Now, Mrs. McDermott, would you please explain to me the DNA test you ordered?
I had that test done when I was fighting my ex-husband for custody of our daughter. You see, I got pregnant by using an anonymous sperm donor, so I knew that my husband's DNA wouldn't show up on that test. I intended to use it against him in court. The fact that my DNA doesn't match Emma's either, it has to be the result of a lab error. I swear to you, that test is wrong. I was pregnant. I delivered a healthy baby girl, the same baby girl that I have raised for the past 4 years.
Your Honor, Dr. Madden wasn't known for his honesty or his reliability. Well, I don't doubt Miss McDermott's sincerity. It's quite possible a switch was made that she wasn't aware of.
Your Honor, we expected them to say that. Excuse me. You can come in now, Cynthia. My apologies for the casserole, but there is nothing like a good eyewitness to get a hearing rolling. Ms. White, do you recall where you were on June 6, 2002?
Working at the St. Saran Hospital on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I'm a labor and delivery nurse. I attended the birth of Emma McDermott that day.
Ms. White, I'm sure you see a lot of patients. You would have us believe you remember this one from 4+ years ago?
You'd be surprised how many patients I remember. Even though I only spend a short time with these women, it's a pretty intense encounter. Hard to forget.
And what is it you remember about Annie?
How excited she was to see her baby. There was something special about her smile. She wanted to hold Emma the second she was born.
It's a little girl, Annie.
Can I see her? I want to hold her. Let me hold my baby.
These people you want to give my baby to, they're good people, aren't they? Promise me, Dr. Mann.
So you helped Annie give birth, and you let her hold the child the minute she was born. How can you be so certain that the child you handed her was the same child she's been raising all these years?
I can't say for sure, but I brought a copy of the baby's footprints. These were taken immediately after Emma was delivered.
And, Your Honor, I have here a recent set of Emma McDermott's footprints. As you can see, they are an exact match.
Look at the toes. The middle ones are longer than the big ones on both.
Now, my clients are willing to consider doing another set of footprints.
Thank you, Mrs. White. That'll be all.
Your Honor, we did not come here looking for footprints. We came here because we are trying to determine if Tad and Dixie Martin are the biological parents of this child. A DNA test is the only way to conclusively do that.
This is not just about science, Counsel. You say the Martins are proven to be the child's birth parents. I am not crazy about the idea of reversing an adoption more than 4 years later.
No, but Your Honor, Dixie didn't make a conscious decision. She didn't give up our daughter because she didn't want to be a mother. She did it because she thought she was dying, because she thought it was best for the child. Dixie is a damn good mother, and I know that firsthand because I raised 2 boys with her. I can't begin to tell you what a wonderful job she's done. If they were here right now, they would tell you what a loving, caring woman she is. She would never, ever have signed away her daughter unless she firmly believed it was right for the child. Now, maybe she regrets that decision. Maybe she wishes she could go back and do it all over again. But I swear to you, this isn't a case of somebody signing a set of adoption papers and deciding 4 years later, oops, I want my child. She always wanted Kate. She's been looking for her for 4 years, wandering all over the world, searching for a daughter that was stolen from her. And maybe she didn't make the best decision 4 years ago. But I know she did what she thought she had to do. Because in her heart, she knew it was right. And I would defy you or anybody else to do it differently or better.
When I gave up my child, I also denied Tad his parental rights. I didn't even give him a vote. I mean, he's right. I really did think that I was doing the right thing. I didn't think he wanted our child. But I couldn't have been more wrong, and I have to rectify my mistake.
I was under the impression that you 2 were married. Is that not the case?
Your Honor, the Martins are divorced, but they remain close friends.
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we have listened to your story. We get that you regret giving up your daughter, that you feel guilty for keeping her from her father. I still don't understand why Emma and I have to pay the price.
Because if you are raising our child, we have a right to know.
Your Honor, this hearing could go on for hours and hours, when the bottom line is that New York State recognizes Annie McDermott as Emma McDermott's legal parent. For you to set a precedent now by ordering a DNA test because of desperate speculation on the part of the Martins would just set up a Pandora's box of legal court battles that would be untoward for hundreds of innocent families and children across the country.
Your Honor, Emma's already lost her father. Knowing that her mother will always be there, that her mother will never leave, is really the only security that she's got.
Please don't make her wonder who she is or where she belongs. She loves me. She doesn't even know the Martins. She's my little girl. She belongs with me.
That you all care a great deal for this little girl. Whether Emma McDermott or Kate Martin, a great deal of love has been displayed here this afternoon, and I, for one, have been quite moved by it. I cannot say definitively whether these children are one and the same. A DNA test would, no doubt, give us that answer. But do I have the legal grounds to order such a test? That is the question before me. And while I have been presented with some very compelling evidence arguing in favor of the test, its questionable provenance makes it fruit of the poisonous tree, which cannot stand up to a persuasive eyewitness. Therefore, despite my personal curiosities and concerns, I find no legal basis for granting this petition. Nor do I, as Miss Cudahy so eloquently pointed out, want to set a precedent that thousands might regret.
No, please, please.
I know this is not the ruling you had hoped for, Mrs. Moore.
This is an endless nightmare. What can we do now?
We're going to do what we have to do.